Okay, I have a story to share. Always have a story to share. This morning, my wife asked me the following question. She said, how come every time I'm trying to remember or re-represent Sifu's teaching, I cannot remember it all? I trust that most of you have similar experiences. If someone asks me, what did Sifu talk about today? I usually cannot remember. Not usually, actually, most of the time. Can't remember everything Sifu said. Only something that hits me or important to me or makes sense to me. In other words, we actually filtering out with our own experience and own logic and by our ego. So why is that? It's because Sifu's teaching is not for our mind. Sifu's teaching is directly into our heart. And heart has no memory. I mean, do you remember how it feels? Do you remember how your heart was yesterday? Heart has no memory. It's a real-time engine that gives us peace and love and joy. So that's what really matters. So whenever Sifu is teaching, it's directly into our heart. It's difficult for us to remember because it's not taught to our mind. It's not something the mind can grasp and remember. Now, why is that? Let's approach it from two different channels. One is from the heart, one other one is from the mind. Sifu teaches is in sync with the universe. Whatever the universe messages to Sifu, talk about this, he talk about this, and then the next moment he talk about that. And the moment after is completely different subject. Some may be related, some may be sequential, some may make sense. Some may not be so-called logical. It doesn't have to be logical. For instance, I remember, 15 years ago, we have a bunch of DVDs of Sifu's teaching. And since we're in the United States, we don't get real-time teaching from Sifu. All we got are just DVDs. So what we do in our classes was just pick out any DVD and then start to watch it. And guess what? Every time when we pick out a DVD, whatever Sifu's teaching is very pertinent, very related to each of us. It's amazing. there's no, how do you say, past. I mean, it's outdated, teaching. Every teaching Sifu said is real time. It's important. It's critical. It's related to each one of us. For many years, we used to do that. That's what the power of the true teaching is. You can feel relieved, you can feel liberated, you can feel loved and cared. And that's what teaching is all about. It's not talk about why and how and what. It talk about love and peace and harmony. Now let's talk about our mind. How do we begin to learn? Papa, Mama, this is red, this is white, this is sweet. We learn by putting in vocabularies and images and sound into our memory bank. And slowly, as our memory bank begins to have enough information, we'll make our own judgment. And our mind beginning to analyze and think and differentiate. But imagine how complicated the universe is, and yet how limited our stored data is, you know. We can't remember everything Google searches tell us. We cannot even comprehend just the first or 2 pages of Google search. And yet we try to make sense of the universe. The universe always makes sense. Otherwise, it won't exist in harmony. I mean, if you look around, everything in the universe is in harmony. The birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the mountains and lakes and the oceans. It's always been there. It's always in peace. It always made sense. It is us who having difficulty to grasp the complexity of how the universe come about. We'll never be able to catch up. Just like, you know, if I say, feel love, can you feel love? If you can, try to describe it, comprehend it with your mind. How can you put a logic to love and peace? How can you comprehend that? How can you describe it? So these are 2 separate, shall I say, instruments. One is try to survive, you know, to tell a red light from a green light, to tell a $100 bill from a $1 bill. The other one is what we live for. Not just survive, but be joyful, be peaceful, be in harmony. So there's really no need to make sense of everything. Once you had love and harmony and peace, you don't need anything. This is it. And a week ago, I think, probably a week ago, every day is the same day, someone said, do we go to Buddha land when we die or go to heaven when we die? I said, where is Buddha? Buddha is in your heart. Where is Christ? Christ is in your heart. And your heart is heaven. Your heart is Buddha land. Once you had harmony, peace, and joy, you're in Buddha land. You're in heaven. It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate the issue. It's very simple. If you can live every day happily, in peace and love, you're in Buddha land. You're in heaven. And don't doubt yourself. Don't debase yourself, you know. Don't think negatively. Our life is actually very simple. Just feel it. Don't think it, you know. Just feel it. You can feel the love and take a deep breath. Can you feel the joy of the energizing effect of the oxygen you inhale? See? Oxygen, a human invented word. It's for the mind. We don't need to know whether there's oxygen or carbon dioxide in our breath. Just take a deep breath and feel it. You can feel the energizing effect, the relief of your stress. Take a deep breath. That's why they're saying everything is in a single moment. In a single moment, everything will change. In a single notion, in a single thought. It's that simple. It's not complicated. Just like, when I was in younger days, I used to smoke, and I can quit anytime because it's a social custom in Taiwan to smoke. I went back to Taiwan after I got my degree, and my father wanted me to go back, so I went back to Taiwan, help him out, and it's a smoking environment. I always have to lit a cigarette, but I can't quit. And people say, "How can you quit?" I said, "Well, just throw away a cigarette." What's so complicated about that? Anything can be done in a single instance. Just have to do it. Don't think it, Thinking complex things, complicated things. Thinking mess up your mind, mess up your heart. Well, actually, thinking blocks your heart. So I thought, this is of course, it's easier said than done, but just try it. If you're lonely or sad or disappointed or angry, take a deep breath. Feel the love and joy of that breath, and you are in heaven. Yeah. It's not hard, But if you continue to say, why, how come, why it's me, why the things happen like this, it's, as I said, it's beyond our mind can control. Everything is perfect. Everything is in harmony. Everything is as is. And we just needed to accept it and deal with it instead of try to understand it. Well, that's all I can think of. That's all will come to me. And, if anyone have anything to share or any questions, please share. Okay, then let's meditate. Again, we don't need 30 minutes or 1 hour of meditation. We just need a single breath. Take a deep breath, and then you can feel the calm and the happiness of that breath. And once you can feel it, you no longer, and focus on that feeling, then you no longer be thinking. And then you're in a state of Canding. Then you're in heaven. It's all that very simple, Sifu taught us for 30, I don't know, 30 some years. He said a lot of words, but only meant one thing: love. It's very simple when it comes down to it. We don't really need anything else because that's all we really need. Okay, let's take a few deep breaths and feel the peace and the energy and the joy. The only way you can feel the joy is you truly feel it instead of think it. Joy is something cannot be thought, cannot be acquired. It has to be felt. And focus on that wonderful feeling of joy. Once you let go, you'll be able to feel it. Once you stop thinking, you can feel it. Once you feel it, focus on it. Stay on it. Stay on that feeling. In this session, I don't feel there's a need to go through any of the chakras, because those are the purpose of all the chakras is to bring your attention to your inner self, in your physical self, so that you can become healthier. And the secondary purpose, or actually the primary purpose, is so that you can focus on that, enter into Canding. But we don't really need the chakra to enter Canding. All we really need to do is take a few deep breaths and focus on the joy of each breath. You feel the breath into you, and then your mind wandering off somewhere else. That's okay. Take a second deep breath and focus on the joy and the peace, until you can fully focus on that joy and peace. Then focus on the joy and peace, and eventually you will ignore your breathing. As always, we don't call an end to the session. Just meditate as long as you can.